Hey folks, so we are now officially in Siam Reap. We got into Siam Reap yesterday, so Siam Reap is in Cambodia. We are here to see this massive temple complex, like one of the largest temple complex or largest ruins in the world, called Angkor Wat. And it is just morning. My wife is out getting a little bit of exercise before we have breakfast, and so I figured I'd do one of these videos since I did not do the video yesterday. But to show you how cool the hotel rooms are in Siam Reap, I just want to show you guys this place, because this is like one of those things you walk into and you're like, seriously? Like, is this seriously the hotel room we're in? So obviously you get your nice little TV and your window and all that, but it has like monkey gods around. And it has a nice little day bed. This looks a lot, that looks comfortable. It is not actually comfortable. It has all this stuff on the walls, has the mirror. It has, because of course if you're going to be in Cambodia, you got to have the nice little mosquito net around you. Though I do have to say, we didn't actually need the mosquito net last night, but it just gives a nice little look there. You know, you can see all this. But what's really weird is this is our whole bathroom area. Well, there's a lot of weird things about this bathroom area. That's actually the door, so that's the door to the outside world. But here is our bathroom area. And we have our statue right here, and we have our little step up to do the sink and all that stuff there, and the shower over here. In the shower, you have absolutely no privacy. Because like this, that's the whole shower right there. That whole little thing is a shower. It's kind of cool. You're up there on that nice little pedestal, but everybody can see what's going on, basically. And then you have our nice little statue here. Oops. Have our nice little statue here. And then we have the little area. I mean, this is all really well done. It's very curious, very weird. And then down here is water. This is actually water, and you can hear that dripping. That's actually water dripping in there. So this genuinely, out of my 39 years of life and the many bizarre places I have stayed, this just kind of ranks up there as just totally like, huh, that is very curious. And so then I want to go and show you folks the outside world. So before we do that, I gotta put my sandals on. And so I'm happy to say my feet are looking pretty normal. Do you know which one had the horrible bacterial flesh-eating disease and which one didn't? Aha, if you can't tell that, then we're doing good. I'll put my sandals on for a moment. I'm gonna go all naked. I'm gonna do sandals without socks. I'm gonna be uncivilized. Only uncivilized people wear sandals without socks. It's so funny, there's all these people out there, they say, why would you wear socks with sandals? It's like, oh man, have you never worn socks with sandals? Like, once you wear socks with sandals, anything else just seems utterly ridiculous. But yeah, so this is our room. And then we got this little thing where you pull that out and all the power is off. Then we come out here, and so this is the outside, where of course we have the random Buddha. And then we look this way, and it's the whole thing. I mean, like, this is how the entire hotel is. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go up, and that's going to get us to the cool areas. Again, I have truly, truly, truly never been in a hotel that looks like this. See, you've got random Buddhas. Got the weird, creepy hallway. Got the weird, creepy mural thing. And then this should take us out to the lobby or whatever area. Oh, and look at that. More statue area inside. This is just an absolutely really cool place. I mean, it seems cheesy as hell. It seems like something like the Rainforest Cafe would have made. But it's actually really nice. If it wasn't so damn hot, it would be like perfect. It would be great. But it is pretty warm already. But yeah, this is the hotel we're staying here in Siam Reap. So something like this costs you about $40 a night here. This area of Cambodia, although ironically, Cambodia itself is poorer than Thailand. This particular area of Cambodia is relatively expensive. But again, you know, It's always fun. It's always weird as like an American to complain about money in some of these places sometimes. Because you see how badly so many people live. And then you complain about the difference between spending $35 or $40 in a room per night. But yeah, this is the upstairs. This is great. I do not know who did their design work, but I think I want to hire them for my design work. It's like, yep, I want to fly you out to the United States to design my little backyard or whatever. Look at that. This is cool. You cannot tell me this isn't really cool. Look at all this stuff. Not really sure what to make of it. The only downside, the only thing I find utterly unacceptable is I see no fish. There should be fish in here. This place needs some fish. But otherwise, look at this. This is pretty cool. You go around. It's even got a pool up here. Have you ever stayed in a hotel that looks like this? I, in my life, have never stayed in a hotel that looks like this. And look, got a nice little pool up here. I would like to go swimming. My problem is, though, after my little foot infection, I'm scared crapless of any water in Thailand or in this neck of the woods. It's like, yeah, I'd like to go swimming, but you know, flesh-eating disease and all. Are you scared of sharks? No, I'm not scared of sharks. Why aren't you scared of sharks? Because when sharks eat you, they like eat your leg and then they're done. They stop. You get out of the water and it's over. With the weird bacteria around here, it'll eat your foot, and they'll eat your leg, they'll eat your hip, they'll eat your eyeballs. It's all just kind of horrible stuff. Anyway, very nice here. Very. So this is the world of Cambodia. This is the world of Siam Reap, and I have to say, so far, I do definitely give it a thumbs up. It is weird here. This is the first place, though, that has felt like a Western tourist attraction place. Because so far, being in Thailand, one of the nice things that I like about being in Thailand is it's so Asian. Now, I know that may sound stupid and ridiculous, but it's something that's easy to forget about, is that a huge portion of the world is Asian, and if not Asian, at least not necessarily white and speaking English or one of the European languages. And so one of the nice things about traveling through like Thailand is that most of the places we went to, we were definitely the only Americans, and usually the only people that were anywhere close to white. So what's kind of funny here is we went out last night, and this area is so touristy that, like, I mean, there were little 12-year-old white girls running around, and it's kind of weird. Like, everything is like really made for Western sensibilities here. So both nice and weird all at the same time. But overall, like I say, very, very, very nice place. You can look out here, and again, it's like poor, but it's pretty. And that's what you can't say with a lot of places. It like reminds me of like when I went to Nepal, like the difference between India and Nepal. And so India is much more wealthy than Nepal is. So as far as like wealth and money and all that is concerned, India has a lot more money and has a higher GDP and personal GDP and all that than Nepal does. But having been to both India and Nepal, I would much prefer to be in Nepal, because they actually have a much better they seem to have a better standard of living. They seem to have a cleaner and nicer environment, other than the Civil War. That caused its own problems. But just because a place is poor doesn't necessarily mean it's worse than a place that has more money, if that makes any sense there. Oh, but yes, we are here in Siam Reap. And this is what Siam Reap looks like. And again, like I said, I was worried. When I got to Siam Reap, I was just like, oh, we are so screwed. Oh, this is gonna be so horrible. What the hell was I thinking? Maybe Louis Rossmann was right. I need to go home and learn how to fix motherboards or something. But now that I'm here in Siam Reap, now I feel like things are going well. So that's our nice little tour. Let me see if I can get the light in here so you can actually see my face. That's a little tour of our hotel here. Again, normally I don't give you folks the tours of the hotel, but this one is so just wacky and cool. I figured I had to show it, because again, out of my many years of life, I haven't been to anything quite like this. And honestly, even the ones that even come close to this are usually a lot more money, like $500 a night or something like that. But yeah, someplace here, like I say, so Siam Reap here. So this is like $40 a night. You get air conditioning, you get cable TV, you get good internet. I've already been able to upload one video, and you're close to one of the biggest tourist attractions in the world. So there you go. As far as what we're going to be doing, how much longer our trip is going to be, I'm not quite sure on that one. I'm not exactly sure how much longer our trip is going to be. We're not going to stay here another 4 weeks. We kind of got screwed in Thailand yesterday, and it was kind of like the nail in the coffin as far as Thailand was concerned. Like, Thailand hasn't gone as well as I thought it would. I thought my wife would like it a lot more than she has, because, you know, she does the whole vegan thing and fruit thing, and so I thought she would be absolutely in love with it. And she's not really absolutely in love with it. I already got my first little horrible disease, so that's one thing to throw a kink into it. And then it's hot. And when I say it's hot, I know a lot of people are like, oh, one of those she's without wine. I thought you were supposed to be an adventurer, Eli. Now, here's the thing. There's a difference between hot and worst heat wave in 65 years. Right? And then on top of that, like I say, since we've been here, it seems like all the Thais want to do is screw with white people. It's just like, you know, like everything you do, every time you turn around, you have another person like almost hitting you with a pair of sunglasses or an umbrella, or a tuk-tuk driver honking at you. Or yesterday when we got screwed over, we paid good money for the bus here, and that was just an absolute cluster. And so between all of those things, it's just like, this really isn't that enjoyable. It doesn't feel like something I'm going to be able to take a lot away from. You know, it's one thing if it's hot, but you really love the people. Or it's one thing if you don't really like the people, but oh my golly, it's like an amazing environment, or something like that. We kind of feel like all the way around, we're just getting a bit tired of Thailand. And we talked with other people coming over to Cambodia yesterday too, and it was curious what they said. They were all like, yeah, we're getting tired of Thailand. This is just absolutely stupid. They treat tourists like shit, and basically look at us as if we're just big old bank accounts, and the only reason that we exist is to give them money. And again, like I say, it makes it to the point that it's not so enjoyable anymore. Like, that's when we're at Pattaya for doing bed rest. My thought was I could do bed rest, and then they had a long, like, it wasn't boardwalk area, I guess stone walk area. They had a long walk that went along their ocean, right? And so since my wife likes to get exercise and fitness and all that, I figured, okay, I can do bed rest in a nice hotel. She can walk out in the morning. She can do her couple of miles of walking along the ocean front. So that should be relatively safe and good and all that kind of stuff. It should be decent all the way around. But then what she found was, like, she would go out there, and every 3 feet, another person is bye, like just constantly in your face. Tuk-tuks coming up behind you and honking at you while they're still behind you to get the attention. And so it's just like one of those, like, just not worth the energy. Just not, at this point, not worth the energy. So our thoughts now are, we're here in Siam Reap, Angkor Wat, so we'll be here for maybe 5 days, maybe a little bit longer. But what I'm thinking right now is we'll see this part of we'll see Angkor Wat specifically in Siam Reap. And then there might be a couple of other things like right in this area in Cambodia to see. And then we'll just hop a plane to Bangkok and then hop a plane back to Dulles and be done with it. Be done with it. It's just not worth the energy. I think that's the thing, is like Thailand's a good place for, you know, if you're European, or if you want a very inexpensive place to go, like really inexpensive place to go and drink alcohol and be a beach bum. They talk about that in the book The Beach. If you haven't read the book The Beach, it's a good book. But they talk about that, where it's just kind of like the same old thing, people drinking, whatever. And I think it's good for that. But like I say, for my wife and I, we like to go out there, we like to walk, we like to see things, we like to look around. And it's just so in your face. It's just so everybody thinks you're a damn ATM machine. Oh, you came to our country to give me money. Like, Again, I'm more than happy to spend money. I am spending money. I am spending money in these countries. But doesn't mean every jackass with a pair of sunglasses I want to buy something from. So that's kind of our thought. I'm not sure, actually. My original thought was that we just come to Siam Reap and then leave. But there seem to be some interesting areas around around the Siem Reap area. So we may stay here a little bit longer. We're still kind of winging it. The nice thing is planes from here to Bangkok, there's a lot, like every day. There's like 10 between all the different airlines. There's 10 every day. I guess Air Asia is the main budget airline around here. So for $83 per ticket, one way, we can get from here to Bangkok. So instead of being like a 9 or 10 hour drive, it turns into a 1 hour flight. That should be relatively easily. And then I was looking at Qatar Airways, and again, I like Qatar because they have a lot of flights coming into and out of Bangkok, and so we should be able to switch up our airline ticket leaving. It may cost us a few $100 more, so it'll be $200 per ticket and change fee, so that comes out to $400 total. And then there might be like a couple $100 difference in the actual airfare ticket. So I really think like $600, and we can change up our airfare. I would prefer not to essentially just throw $600 away. On the other hand, if we're not really enjoying it that much anyway, and it really isn't that inexpensive anyway, well, we might as well just pick everything up, go home, and reset for a nice little travel trailer adventure during the summer. Because that's one thing too, is it's weird, like with what I'm doing, is because so many people, like, they're on vacation, and so by God, if I get 2 weeks of vacation a year, I will have fun, even if it kills me and everybody else, right? Whereas, like, with what we're doing, it doesn't really. It's like, well, oh well, this didn't turn out. Well, this didn't turn out. Okay, go home, shower up, get everything ready for the next adventure, and go from there, right? So I do have a bit of a different perspective. But yeah. So the main topic I wanted to talk about today, though, is accepting getting screwed. Because my golly, we got screwed yesterday. And here's the thing: in life, again, it's all about how you deal with situations. And sometimes you just got to accept the ass reaming. So yesterday, so we were in Pattaya, right? So we're in Pattaya, and we need to get to Siem Reap. And so if you go from point A to point B, and you don't have to deal with any bullshit, it's about a 6-hour drive. Of course, we actually had to go across the border and deal with visas and all that kind of stuff. So it should be about an 8-hour drive. So we spend 1,500 baht a piece, so 3,000 baht total for a shuttle bus. Again, in Thailand and in Cambodia. So that's about a $40 ticket to get us from point A to point B each, about $80 total. So that makes sense. That seems nice, that seems affordable, that makes sense. So we buy this thing, and basically we're told, okay, this will take us from here to the border, from Pattaya to the border. At the border, somebody will take us across, help us get our visa, and then put us on a bus. Okay, fine. So we go. And then they drop us off at this restaurant type thing and say, okay, well, we need to get your visas. And so that'll be another 1,500 baht a piece. And so visas are supposed to be about $30 to $35 for Cambodia, and this would come out to about $45 a piece. So they're charging an admin fee. Okay. Then we actually get to the border, and then when we're at the border, there's another person who's supposed to take us across. And then he's like, okay, I need another 100 baht from everybody. You're like, wait a minute, this is all supposed to be part of the deal. And then you get across the border, and they take us to the bus station, and they're like, okay, yes, the bus station, the bus that you paid for, it'll take 4 hours to get from here to Siem Reap, and it'll be here in 3 hours. And we sit there, and we're looking at them, and we're like, well, we were told this entire trip was supposed to be 8 hours total. Right? And this is one of those things that you get into in the real world. And the question is how do you really want to deal with it? Because I find a lot of people, again, they get very egotistical, they get very stuck in their guns, they get very stuck in their ways, and then they make their life absolutely miserable. So it's like yesterday with all these places where we were getting screwed. Again, you know, there's times to argue, there's times to like risk back knuckling a tuk-tuk driver. And then there's other times that you've got to ask yourself, what exactly are your options at this point? Again, so much of life, so much of business transactions is about trust. You trust, you buy into a business transaction with an amount of trust, because the reality is any part along the way, if the other party decides to screw you, you are kind of screwed. And you can get all high and mighty and that kind of stuff, but a lot of people don't care. I mean, that's an interesting thing, like when you see in these countries, is they just don't care. You sit there and scream and holler and yell and say, but I paid 1,500 baht already. And they'll look at you like you're an idiot. And if you keep screaming, they will just walk away. And then, not only you got your 1,500 baht, but you also don't have a visa. And you're also not really sure where you are. And you're also, goddamn, a little bit more screwed than you were in the past. And so this is one of those things that you should be thinking about when you're getting into situations where you feel like you're getting screwed. Is one of the questions you have to ask yourself is, do you have any power in the situation, right? So I talked about this with the whole tuk-tuk driver fiasco back in Bangkok, where, you know, we took the tuk-tuk, then he wanted 500 baht, which is basically like $15, where we had just had a taxi basically do the exact same route for 47 baht. And so at that point, the reason that I could scream at the tuk-tuk driver, at least the reason I could tell him to go to hell and all that kind of stuff, is we were already sitting in front of our hotel. We were already where we needed to be. I already know Bangkok. I already knew where we were. I already felt safe. And therefore, we can have this whole little screaming match because I'm the one with control at that point. I have already been delivered to the place that I was supposed to go. And now I'm the one with money. I'm the one that the other person wants something from. And so me giving it over is my decision. So at that point, you can be really hard-ass. But again, when you get into some of these situations, you're out in the middle of nowhere. And again, when you're on the Cambodian border and you don't know what to do next, are you really going to argue and scream and you go bitch and moan and all that kind of stuff over these few dollars? It's something to think about. And so one of the things you have to be thinking about, like whenever you run into a problem, whenever you get screwed, whenever you run into these issues, is you have to ask yourself, is there anything that you can really do in this current moment? Is there anything in this moment that will get you out of the situation, or you're just kind of screwed and you got to go along for the ride? Many times what we find out is you're just kind of screwed, you got to go along for the ride. And so then what you try to do is you try to mitigate the problem going into the future. You probably try to think about the problem going into the future, and so that you don't run into that issue again. So like with my wife and I, there's no way in hell that we're going to take a bus going back to Bangkok. There are buses that go back to Bangkok. But we looked at it. It's $83 for a ticket on an airplane. It gets us there in an hour. Done. Right? So sometimes that's really all you can do. Sometimes, so much of life, all you can do is basically try to make sure it doesn't happen to you again and take the knock for it. And that's one thing, like, I mean, that's just one thing a lot of people don't seem to grasp and be able to accept. Is, yeah, like sometimes you just get screwed. And then the other question that you have to ask yourself is, do you really want to stand? Do you really want to stand on your high horse, and is it really worth it? So, like I saw a couple people with the whole Bangkok to Siam Reap run yesterday, and they decided that they were going to stay for the bus. They paid for the bus, and they will stay for the bus because that was the thing. So we get there, so it'll be another 3 or 4 hours. The bus ride will be 4 hours, and then to wait for the bus will be 3. And then they're like, but you can get a minibus. We can shove you all into a minibus, and it'll cost $10 a piece, and we'll get you there in 2.5 hours. And so it's stupid. We've already paid for our tickets. We've already paid for our way there. We already were supposed to, get the good, wonderful, whatever service. And instead we're being screwed. And so the question they have to ask yourself at that point, is it worth the other $20? So we're coming here to Siam Reap to see Angkor Wat, which is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Is it really worth adding another 8 hours or whatever stress on top of the whole experience just to save $20, just to say that we weren't screwed, right? And these are some of the things that you need to be thinking about, like I say, in the real world. Because I see so many people, they just get stuck. They get on their high horse, they're going, I will not be screwed, this is what I paid for. And at the end of the day, you're like, take the lesson and move on. Take the lesson and move on. But what I would argue, like a lot of people would say, oh, haha, yeah, look, the Thais screwed you, Eli. But look what the Thais are doing to you. They're just taking your money and they're just ripping you off. They're just showing you how they feel. But the other thing that you have to be thinking about, and this is where, since I have so many foreign viewers and so many viewers from this type of the world, this is where you guys got to start pulling your heads out of your asses. Because again, it's like, oh, haha, you got taken for X, Y, or Z. Great, the Thais fucked me for an extra $100. Wow. because they were unethical, because they were liars, because they were just worthless pieces of crap, they got an extra $100 out of me and my wife. Isn't that so? Look at how smart they are. Except for the fact, $100, let me tell you, a lot more than $100 was going to go into your economy. A lot more than $100 was going to go into hotel rooms and taxi rides and tours and food and all that kind of stuff. Thousands of dollars was going to go into the Thai economy because we were here to be in Thailand. But again, one of the big reasons why we're leaving is so tired of every jackass saying, want. How do we screw you out of another couple of dollars? To the point that we're going to pack up and go home. And again, I talk about crap holes. Like I talked about a crap hole country once, right? I did a video and I lost my temper at an idiot and talked about a crap hole country. People are like, oh, I can't believe you would say that. But this is what I'm talking about with some of these places where they're so selfish, they're so self-focused that they miss the forest for the trees. It's like there's so much energy, like I say, on that me, now, and then that you end up pushing away the people that would actually be very happy to support. And even, like I say, like we have a budget, right? And that's the thing, we have a budget coming to Thailand. I was willing to go over the budget, significantly willing to go over the budget if I'm happy. If I'm happy and we're excited and this is great, we'll go over the budget. We'll do a border run. We'll stay in a little nicer hotel. Everything will be great. That's the money that goes into the economy. Then I can go back and tell everybody in the world how great Thailand is. The people that watch me then come to Thailand. Money. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. Except, like I say, you get here, or you get to Thailand, every 2 steps you have a tuk-tuk driver beeping at you. Every 5 steps you have another person like standing in front of you trying to sell you something. And it's just like this constant maddening thing. So you're like, you know what? It's not that you are correct. You are correct. I am going to spend my budget. You're like, well, Eli, you have a budget. You're not really going to tell me you're not going to spend your budget. No, I am going to spend my budget. We're going to leave here. I'm going to take what's left of my budget. And we're going to go up to Acadia in Maine and use the rest of it there. Right? But this is the kind of thing, and it's not just like here, it's not like Thailand, so some Thais or whatever might be losing their mind. But it's not just in Thailand, it's like what you see in Baltimore. I mean, Baltimore, United States, Maryland, it's the same type of thing. Gimme. What will you do? What will you do? What will you do? What will you do? Tax. Again, like I say, in Baltimore City, I mean, your property tax rate is 2.25%. 2.25% per year, right, for your property tax. And the way that the government explains it is, well, there are so many poor people in this city, we need you to pay more. And you're like, motherfucker, you mean for like a 1,200 square foot townhouse, you want me paying $8,000 a year just in taxes? That's not like federal and state and local and income. That's just property taxes. That's just, you want me to pay between $6,000 to $8,000 a year. And again, think about that. That's like $700 or whatever a month in property taxes. Gimme. It's like, And then what happens? And then everybody fucking leaves, right? Look at Baltimore. Everybody's leaving Baltimore. Baltimore's only gained population for 3 years out of the past 50. Reason. Why the hell do you want your house to appreciate? Why do you want your house going from $100,000 to $300,000 if you're going to get taxed at 2.25%? Right? Like literally. I know people who buy houses that pay less money than what my property tax for a townhouse or row house would be in Baltimore City. Right? But anyways, those are some of the things to be thinking about. So you as the individual, whenever you're gonna fight back or whatever, the big thing to think about is where do you really have the ability to fight back? Are you in any position to fight back? Because the issue is if you're not in a position to fight back, again, you can really get screwed really hard. So sometimes you just gotta take it, right? But then the question is, going into the future, how will you mitigate that? How will you mitigate it? So for us, like I say, that means we definitely won't take a bus back. We'll take an airline. And again, this is where you start seeing things. But this is important to understand. Like when we start talking about the divide, the economic divide, and inequality and all that kind of stuff. But this is a perfect example of how the inequality happens. I was more than happy to take a bus here, and I was actually more than happy to take a bus back. You can get some nice good video going through Cambodia and Thailand, right? Especially if it's relatively inexpensive. And here's the thing. Who makes money off of bus trips? When you've got a minivan, you've got tuk-tuk drivers, and you've got guides through the border, that's all individual people. Those are all the types of people that you would know, right? They're the ones that make the money off of that. Well, here's the thing. If you piss people off to the point that they're no longer going to take the bus, then they go to the next option, which is the airlines. Who do you think makes money off of the airlines? Who do you think is the business owner and the stockholders of the airlines? Do you think they're normal, average people? Right? And again, we start talking about things like inequality and all that kind of stuff. And there is far more to it. There's far more to it. So instead of me giving money that will directly support the populations that I'm dealing with, I get so irritated with the populations that I'm dealing with that I then go give money to the big corporation, and which all the profit then goes off to Europe or wherever the hell else, right? But anyways, that's as far as mitigation is concerned. You then start thinking about it. So like, okay, so mitigating for the future. I don't appreciate these situations happening. How can I make sure this situation won't happen in the future? So again, instead of taking a bus that will give money to the local population, I'm going to give money to the airline. Right? And then beyond that, okay, well, when we have 2 or 3 or 4 weeks to do a trip in the future, where are we going to go? Again, for me, Europe. Interlaken. I really want to get back to Interlaken of all places. And that's the kind of thing you think about, you know, okay, so where are we going to be dealt with in a way that we find acceptable? Where are we just going to be able to go and be able to enjoy things without that constant, right? That's what you got to do. A lot of times, I think that's one of the lessons in life. A lot of times, you can't fix the situation that you're in. A lot of times, you simply have to ride out the situation that you're in. You're in a sucky situation. Yep, it sucks. Move on. What you really have to do is figure out how to mitigate problems for the future and try to keep it from happening again, and then go from there. Oh, yeah. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I'll go and have some coffee, I think. I wonder how the Colombian or the Cambodian coffee is. I hope it's not Nescafe. You know, I actually had Europeans say that they thought Nescafe was coffee. Man, those little socialist governments are just screwing with your minds. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can keep the free health care, you can keep the pension systems, but man, if you think Nescafe is coffee, there's just something so wrong there. Just something so horribly wrong there. Anyways, anything else to babble about today? Not really sure. I feel a little lame. We're only at like a 3-minute mark. But actually, I do have to... But actually, I do have to say I'm probably going to be doing another one of these vlogs tonight. So this is kind of like the vlog to make up for yesterday, so I'll do another vlog tonight. So don't feel too bad there. So technically, yes, this is a shorter vlog. On the other hand, I'll probably do an hour-long vlog tonight as I walk around Siam Reap. So overall, you're going to get like an hour and a half or more of video out of me anyway. So yeah, this one's lame, but the overall amount of product I'm putting out is much bigger. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. Do I know what I'm saying? I don't know if I know what I'm saying, but I'm sure you know what I'm saying. But yeah. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, we thought we'd be here for a lot longer. Really thought we'd be here for like another month. And now it's like, no. But it is amazing. We're going to talk about like the modern world. And again, everybody gets so down upon the modern world. Oh, the modern world sucks. Shut up. The modern world is awesome. I mean, can you believe that? Like, we are halfway around the world. And literally, if we so desired, we could be back in the United States within like 36 hours. Like literally, because it's about 8 o'clock now, 9 o'clock now. So there's an 11 o'clock plane out of Siam Reap. So if we needed to get back to the United States, we could literally hop a plane from Siam Reap to Bangkok, from Bangkok to the U.S. and be like home in like 36 hours. I mean, that's amazing. Like, how amazing is it that it's easier at least to plan a trip all the way from halfway around the world than it is to like plan a trip just in your own town anymore. It's just phenomenal. That's the world we live in. That's the world I live in. I don't know what the hell world you people live in. Everybody's so miserable anymore. It's like they want to be miserable. EY, do you know how much the world sucks? For some people, yes. But for a lot of people, no. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I get that a lot. I've been getting a lot of those comments on these videos that I'm like some pretentious asshole, and I delete them. Like, oh, don't you understand how normal people have it? It's like, I mean, I guess I'm not normal at this point, but I'm not as far off as you think. You know what I'm saying? Like when I travel around the world like so many times, I mean, I was paying with that off of things like pizza money and doing pizza delivery and all that kind of stuff. Right? I think it's like prioritization. Where do you want to spend your money? What do you want your life to look like? Again, I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Like, you know, I mean, that's what you have to think about is, you know, I talk about that with my buddy. So I have a really cool buddy. I had a really cool buddy. He's still around. He's not dead. So, but anyways, I haven't seen him forever. But you know, that was the thing is we were at I remember we were at Thirsty Dog Pub in Baltimore City. Great place. I think it's called Dog Pub now. Awesome pizza, awesome beer, great place. And we're sitting there and we're talking about our adventures and all that kind of stuff. And all kinds of awesome stuff like man stuff. You know, let me tell you when I got sick in India type of deals, right? And then it was so funny, and I talk about that because it really was one of those experiences that got seared in my mind. We were sitting there, and we put our beers down, and it was just that moment, that lull in conversation as we try to figure out what the next thing to talk about. And then we listened to, there were like 4 or 5 of these young, cool yuppies, like sitting behind us, like 25, 26 years old. And they had the same amount of energy talking about their fucking 401k plans as we had talking about adventuring and traveling the world. And so I think that's the thing. It's like what do you prioritize? I mean, if you prioritize your 401k plan, if your 401k plan is all, if you are literally living your entire life for the day that you turn 65, you're gonna have a different life than me. That's just how it is. If every day of your life is based around when you turn 65, then you're gonna have a different life. It's not that I'm a pretentious asshole. It's just you have some really weird fucking priorities. And so that's it. What I feel so badly for with these people though is that they're living their entire lives about being 65, and yet anybody who's looked at our financial system and all that kind of stuff, because if you're 25 now and you're waiting till you're 65, that's 40 years. Man, that's a lot of trust in our financial system. That's a lot of trust in our financial. And that's the thing, is it's not like, it's one thing to say, I have been saving money for the past 40 years so that I can retire, and then somebody screws me over and it's all gone. Because again, you got to think about that, like in Michigan or whatever else. As much as I may give the unions crap, and they do deserve a lot of crap, I do feel a lot of pity for the folks that retired from unions and that are now getting screwed. These are people that play by the books, they play by the rules, they did their 30, 40 years, they're now old and being told there's no pension for them. And so here's the thing, like, one, to think that you saved money for all these years and that now that money is gone, that's bad enough, and that's gonna piss you off and you're gonna feel totally screwed. But here's the thing, can you imagine if you gave up your life for that pension or retirement fund? We're not just saying, yeah, you put in your 15%, whatever, maybe you didn't go on as nice a vacation as you wanted to, and now it's gone. But can you imagine all those people out there that they gave up their lives? They said, I don't want to deal with the risk. I can't accept the uncertainty. So I am going to be a machine. I am going to be a cog. I am going to be a bit in the system for 40 years. 40 years I'm going to accept one week of vacation or 2 weeks of vacation. For 40 years I'm going to accept incremental raises. For 40 years I'm just going to be an inconsequential bit in this massive machine. And then when you get to 65, you find out there's nothing for you. again, I mean, that's one of the things too. Like I talk about, travel, and so I'm 30, so I've traveled all my life, right? So I backpacked in Europe when I was 25, and now we're traveling around at 39. So I can say this, and there's a massive difference between backpacking through Europe at 25 and doing all this stuff at 39. There's just things you want and don't want. Again, I really wanted to get really drunk and party until dawn when I was 25. I just don't want to do that anymore. I mean, even if my wife wasn't around, I still wouldn't want to do that. So it's a different experience. So people who talk about like, oh, I'm not going to backpack in my 20s, I'm going to wait till I retire. One of the things that I've always said is like, that's a very dangerous way of looking at it, because you will have a different experience at 65, right? If you backpack through Europe at 20, for 3 months, you will functionally have, it will be a different experience than when you do it at 65. Even take out the 40 years difference and the 40 years changes and all that kind of stuff. Just functionally, you're different at 65, obviously. But here's what I want you to think about. What if you're that poor, stupid, dumb bastard who sits there, gives up their lives, gives up so many of their dreams, what they want to do in life, just so when they're 65, they can go off and do these things. Well, when I'm 65, I'm going to get a motorcycle. When I'm 65, I'm going to do this. When I'm 65, I'm going to do that. Because the whole thing with 65 is not really about 65. That's the age when you can start pulling your pension. And then imagine you give up all that, and at 65, there's no pension for you. You gave up all your hopes, your dreams, your wants and desires based off of a promise that you have zero guarantee exists. And we're not even talking about if you die or whatever beforehand, right? Again, that's what I don't understand with the modern world. That's the thing. It's weird, like with the millennials, is you see the millennials are actually getting much more. It's kind of funny. Like everybody has this idea that they're all airy-fairy. If you really look at it, the millennials are actually getting much more conservative. I would argue they're becoming a much more conservative generation. They're conservative. It's not socially conservative. You can have sex with whoever the hell you want, but a lot of these like base things are becoming very conservative, and it's kind of funny because the way that I look at it, at least the lessons that I've learned, like because I was born into a world where we were worried about mutually assured destruction. One minute the USSR was there, the next minute it wasn't. And we were all, I remember, it was at the end of history is what they called it. That's why we're called Generation X, is because they said, like, what the hell is the point of your generation? The great wars have already been fought, all of this stuff. Everything past this point is almost meaningless. And that's why we're called Generation X. Everybody kind of forgets that, right? They forget that because then after the Soviet Union fell, and then the dot-com bubble grew, and then it busted. And then we had 9/11. I guess we had 9/11 first before it busted. And we've had all these things. And so the one thing that I've learned in life is that you never know what will happen tomorrow. Again, a lot of people say, oh, what happens if YouTube goes away for you, or what happens if this, or what happens to that, or what happens to the other thing? Oh yeah, what will you do then? The thing is, I've thought about it. You have to think about it. All of this could blow up. Every single goddamn thing can blow up. But the thing is do you conserve now off of the thought that it might blow up later? And will that conservation matter? When they talk about in Germany after World War I, where at one point they printed so much money that you needed a wheelbarrow full of cash in order to buy bread, right? So wheelbarrow full of cash. So you got to think about that. Before World War I all blew up, a wheelbarrow full of cash was probably a lot of money. And then after World War I, a wheelbarrow full of cash barely brought you a loaf of bread. So think about this. What if you had been the person that before World War I had given up your life so that you could have 2 wheelbarrows full of money? I mean, yes, to a degree, that means after World War I, yes, you could buy another loaf of bread. But on the other hand, you gave up your life for literally a loaf of bread. That kind of makes any sense there. Something to think about. Giving up everything. Giving up everything for a promise. That ain't gonna happen. It ain't. Everybody's like, oh, Eli, dude. Yeah. It's all a shell game. It is all a big-ass Ponzi shell game. But anyways, that's probably a story for a different day. But darn it, it kept me talking for a little while longer. We're now up to the 45-minute mark. So, I actually think my wife wants to have some breakfast now. And we're going to go out and start exploring all this kind of stuff today. So with that, I will leave you with some pretty flowers. And actually, ironically, I'll probably be talking to you in a couple of hours anyway. Look at these pretty flowers. I do love, I mean, this part of the world is awesome for its flowers. Absolutely awesome for its flowers.